the vast universe of anime, few moments are as exhilarating and iconic as a character's grand entrance. Whether it's a hero's dramatic arrival, a villain's menacing debut, or the sudden appearance of a mysterious figure, these entrances have the power to captivate audiences and leave a lasting impression. So without any further ado, here's a list of the top 20 most legendary anime entrances. We're starting off this list with the arrival of the hunting dogs in Bungo Stray Dogs anime. After a certain turn of events, the agency and its associates have been marked criminals, having lost all of their goodwill. But to make matters worse, the hunting dogs have been sent after them. This squad is the strongest unit in the military police, and 4 of its members made their over-the-top entrance into the field by literally crashing their missile-looking transport. The entrance had everyone on the edge of their seats, and the other units were even more anxious since they didn't know whether a friend or foe had arrived. The entrance was also accompanied by an awesome soundtrack, and we got to see a glimpse of the hunting dog's power as one of the members literally caught a bullet while another sliced open their transport missile. The entrance marked the start of another power shift as the military's strongest assets made their way into the anime as if they were the 4 Horsemen, a legendary entrance by all accounts. Up next, we have Escanor facing off against Estarossa from 7 Deadly Sins. Most fans of the series can already recall the moment we're talking about, as this was one of the coolest entries in the history of anime. The kingdom has been taken over by the Commandments, and the Holy Knights have to face off against Estarossa and his Commandment of Love. Unfortunately for them, the Commandment causes anyone experiencing hatred towards another person to be incapable of causing harm to others. So literally all the Holy Knights are stopped dead in their tracks. That's when Escanor makes his grand entrance, unfazed by the effects of the Commandment, and watching him move shocks everyone, including Estarossa himself. Escanor walks right up to Estarossa as his heavy steps shake the ground, and when asked by Estarossa why his commandment doesn't affect him, Escanor simply states that he has no reason to feel hate for those beneath him, and that all he felt was pity. The way Escanor walks towards this formidable opponent and that cold one-liner must have had fans screaming in their seats. It was just that cool. Smashing his way into the list is Adam Smasher as he crashes the moment in Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Adam Smasher is akin to a natural disaster in Night City, and on a whole other level when compared to even the heroes of the series. After David and the gang head to Arasaka Tower and somehow retrieve Lucy from Faraday, Adam Smasher is called in to face off against our heroes. Adam Smasher's entrance was a complete shift to the entire series, as it was like summoning a secret boss to fight off a mid-level party. None of the crew was prepared to face off against this legend. His entrance was like watching the boogeyman appear. He crushes Rebecca, shoots off Falco's arm, and tears David apart. Even Lucy's hacking was ineffective against the villain. Adam Smasher's legendary entrance sealed the fate of all of our heroes and marked the finale of this awesome series, so there's no doubt that this moment will stay in the minds of fans for a long time to come. Next on the list, we have Toji's sudden arrival into Dagon's domain from Jujutsu Kaisen. Before this amazing entrance, our heroes are having a pretty tough time fighting against the special grade curse spirit Dagon. Within Dagon's domain, Maki, Nanami and Naobito are giving it their all, and eventually Megumi arrives with the intent to escape Dagon's domain along with his comrades. So with the plan set into motion, Megumi gathers everyone and opens a hole in the special grade curse spirit's domain, only for a massively unexpected entrance.
Surprise, mother.
The recently resurrected Toji Fushiguro climbs through the hole Megumi made and enters Dagon's domain. The entrance was completely unexpected because Toji was a character who was deleted by Gojo years ago. To top it off, he has this large grin across his face as if he's enjoying the chaos. After that iconic entrance, Toji proceeds to steal Maki's playful cloud and then completely decimated Dagon within his own domain, having become a vessel of destruction and carnage. Coming up at number 16, we have Alucard's Level 0 entrance from Hellsing Ultimate. With the enemy being an entire army and an exceptionally powerful priest, Integra places Alucard's control level to 0, allowing him to invoke the full extent of his power. He summons all the souls he's absorbed over the centuries, including his own Wallachian soldiers, and all of them appear from a river of blood that encompasses the city. The release of his restraint, and with it entire armies, was epic in itself, but the entrance also marked the reveal of Alucard's true self. Even though it was hinted at before and fans guessed Alucard's actual identity, it wasn't exactly shown who Alucard truly was. With his restraints released, Alucard went back to his original body as the former Voivode of Wallachia, Vlad the Impaler, commonly known as Count Dracula. Seeing Alucard in his original form, clad in armor and bearing a middle-aged look, was awesome, along with seeing the power he possessed. The entrance marked an end for the villainous Nazis and all of the Hellsing organization's enemies, and no one proved to be enough of a threat for Count Dracula. Moving on to the next entry, we have Hideyoshi parting the sea from Sengoku Basara. Toyotomi Hideyoshi is the general of Toyotomi as a massive fan of gorilla-like proportions. His entrance was especially iconic when he single-handedly went to face off against the army of pirates under Josokabe Motochika. As Josokabe's army was arriving via the sea, Hideyoshi stepped into the sea while his army stood on the shoreline. Accompanied only by some incredible music, Hideyoshi punched the sea so hard that it pushed all the water away, leaving the ships on solid ground and allowing his army to attack Josokabe's men.
Where is the ocean?
The moment was astounding, as it felt like someone from Dragon Ball Z had just entered the anime, resulting in a mind-blowing feat. After parting the sea, Hideyoshi tanked cannonballs with his bare hands, and you'd think that the enemy would now know that a man who can punch that hard wouldn't be affected by measly cannonballs. Hideyoshi then proceeded to beat up Josokabe, proving himself to be one of the strongest characters around. Next up on the list, we have All Might as he arrives to save his students from the Nomu in My Hero Academia. Our group of student heroes is in quite the pinch as Shigaraki and his gang get the upper hand on Aizawa-sensei. Izuku's full-powered smash does nothing to Nomu, and Tomura is about to decay both Tsuyu and Minoru. It's a desperately hopeless situation and defeat seems all but inevitable, but then All Might bursts into the picture. The entrance had some great timing as All Might was able to restore all lost hope in an instant. All Might rescues the gang before facing off against the overpowered Nomu. The entrance had everything needed to make it a true hero's entrance, and it had fans all over excited. What happened next proved to be one of the best fight scenes in the anime as the weakened All Might went plus ultra to protect the people he cares about. From start to finish, it was a spectacular moment and makes for a great addition to this list. Next on the list, we have Kirito's revival from Sword Art Online Alicization. Kirito had previously fallen into a coma after defeating the Administrator, and it was a mystery whether he could be brought back from it. The rest of the gang had to rebuild Kirito's mind in the data world. All of the components were ready for Kirito's arrival, and it finally came about when Vasago was going up against our heroes. Kirito awakened with a great boost in power, and was even able to use Yu-Gi-Oh's perfect weapon control art. The moment was awesome since it was a long-awaited moment when Kirito would return to his former self and awaken from his comatose state. It was a cherry on top to see him even stronger than before, even though fans know how seemingly overpowered Kirito already is. The fight that ensued was great to watch and even tugged on your heartstrings, with Yu-Gi-Oh being shown to give Kirito power. Revivals aside, next up on the list we have Ghislaine as she shows up to kill the kidnappers in Mushoku Tensei. Prior to this, after a certain turn of events, Eris was kidnapped to be sold off for ransom to a certain noble. Rudius intervened and took Eris back, but was suddenly put in a very dangerous position as he was about to be impaled in midair by the sword one of the kidnappers threw. Time seemed to slow down as we could clearly see Rudy about to be severely wounded, only for Ghislaine to come to their rescue. The animation was absolutely stunning as we witnessed Ghislaine speeding towards the two by running like an animal over the rooftops. She arrived right as the sword was about to hit and shattered it into numerous fragments. Ghislaine then proceeds to take out the attackers in an instant, the speed of her attack causing even the surroundings to shatter. It was a brutally awesome entrance that started and ended in an instant, although it's regretful that Rudy had to witness something traumatizing in the form of a headless body. Before we head to the top 10 of this list, we have Skull Knight as he saves Guts and Casca during the eclipse from Berserk. Before Skull Knight made his entry, we had one of the most shocking acts of betrayal in the history of anime. Griffith had sacrificed his Band of the Hawk in a ritual that would allow him to ascend to godhood. The eclipse proved to be one of the most gut-wrenching moments as we saw the Band of the Hawk torn apart by the demons and then Casca being defiled by Griffith in front of Guts. The entire event was exceptionally dark, and it seemed impossible that anyone would be able to survive the ritual, that is until Skull Knight made his entrance. A being clad in heavy armor and riding a horse through the sky ripped into the fabric of the dimension and rushed through the demons and the gods' hands before retrieving both Guts and Casca. Skull Knight's entrance was completely unexpected and welcome as he saved our protagonist from an early grave along with his lover and marked the beginning of a lifelong hatred. Entering number 10, we have Sinbad arriving along with every nation from Magi. Before this, Aladdin and the others were in a very tough spot. The heroes were exhausted from the tough battle with the medium, who'd assumed the form of a large humanoid monster with the ability to drain White Rook from everything it touches. It becomes incredibly difficult to stop, and the others can't do much to stop it from pulling Ira from the heavens either. When everything seems lost, Sinbad makes his entrance in a wildly stunning fashion. He launches lightning at the medium, which further results in a massive explosion. The moment is made even more awesome by the fact that the antagonist is the one who introduces Sinbad as the Great King. The music enhances the entrance even further, but that's not all. Along with Sinbad came the metal vessel users of the Seven Seas Alliance, along with others too. It was an incredible entrance that's one for the anime history books. Next up we have Shinra as he arrives to save Tamagi. Tamaki is taken to a secluded area where she learns that Rekka has been creating infernals. Tamaki asks him to stop and lights a fire to signal for help. She faces off against Rekka but is defeated by the man she admired. He steps on her and says she was supposed to take the blame. Tamaki had feelings for this abusive man, but things take a turn for the better as Shinra noticed Tamaki's flames from the sky. As Rekka is about to kill Tamaki, Shinra bursts down from the sky in all his glory and stomps the psychopath's face into the ground. The sound that accompanies the awesome animation is so satisfying to watch and makes for an awesome entrance from our devilish protagonist. Tamaki even breaks into tears when Shinra asks her if she's alright. It's an emotional moment and the entrance was very well timed, just making it all the more better. We're not done with flaming entrances yet, as the next entry on this list is when Roy Mustang arrives to kill Envy from Full Metal Alchemist. Now it's important to note that Colonel Roy Mustang harbored intense animosity towards Envy, as he was directly responsible for the death of Mustang's best friend Maze Hughes. Envy, disguised as Hughes' wife, manipulated events that led to Hughes' murder, causing Mustang deep grief and a desire for vengeance. Considering the history behind the two characters, it was extremely satisfying to watch Mustang arrive and give a piece of his mind to Envy. By a piece of his mind, I mean that he completely incinerates Envy in one of the most brutal ways ever. He constantly envies his flames, letting the homunculus scream and burn, while Mustang has the coldest, scariest expression he's ever shown to have. The entrance, along with the result, was just spectacular and incredibly satisfying, as we got to see a hero of the series completely decimate his opponent in a move that isn't common in shonen series. Next on the list we have Saitama as he saves For some background for this one, it's important to remember that the king is basically just a normal human with the superpower of being in the right place at the right time. He has no strength or power to speak of, but happens to be acknowledged as one of the strongest S-class heroes around. Everyone watching though knows how incredibly weak he is, so it was a particularly bad situation when the king came face to face with the Elder Centipede. Prior to this, Bang, Bomb and Genos were all doing their best to fight off against the Elder Centipede, but even these S-class heroes couldn't take out the monster. After getting soundly beaten, King distracted the beast and it was heading directly for him. One wrong move could have led to death, but then Saitama comes along and destroys the Elder Centipede in one punch, of course. It was just an awesome entrance coupled with some great animation. Saitama just always knows how to make a great entrance. Just before we get to the top 5, we have an entry from the big 3 of Shonen, Bleach. This particular entrance is when Ichigo arrives to face off against the original big baddie of the series, Aizen. A former captain of the Gotei 13, Aizen proved to be much stronger and much more cunning than his colleagues. He manipulated many events in the realm, and this led to the current time when he had all but defeated the captains and had turned into an incredibly powerful being after fusing with the Hogyoku. He seemed nigh undefeatable until Ichigo arrived with his new power-up, saving his father and giving Aizen one of the coldest stares around. Ichigo proceeds to check out his surroundings, seeing whether his friends are okay, before finally telling Aizen that he doesn't want to fight here. Aizen responds by saying that he isn't strong enough to order him around, to which Ichigo simply grabs Aizen by the face and just takes him to another location. It was the most badass moment around, and the villain we thought would prove a monumental threat was suddenly reduced to nothing when compared to Ichigo. It was a great entrance and led to a great fight scene with the awesome villain.
行くぜ、アイゼン。
Up next, we have Yami as he saves the Black Bulls from Black Clover.
うちのもんに何手出してんだ。
At this time in the anime, Dante's attacked the Black Bulls base to capture their captain Yami. Now, Yami isn't there at the time, so Dante spends his time attacking the other Black Bulls. The gang fights against him, but Dante proves to be an exceptionally powerful opponent, which is understandable since he's part of the Dark Triad and the host of the devil Lucifero. He proves to be too difficult of an opponent for the gang to handle, but then Yami enters to save the day, looking down at Dante from the sky and telling him to keep his hands off his squad. Seeing the captain arrive was a godsend for the Black Bulls and even the playing field against this monster. The fight that ensued was a treat to watch, especially because the animation is so good, but it was all possible because of Yami's arrival. The ladies of the Black Bulls would be in especially deep trouble if the captain hadn't shown up to save the day. Now we have Eren as he attacks Marley from Attack on Titan. This was quite possibly one of the most iconic moments in the series, as it marked an absolute retaliation from Eldia against Marley and began a serious all-out war. This entrance had one of the best build-ups around, as initially no one but Eren knew what was going to happen. When Eren confronted Reiner and talked to them about everything, it marked a point in the series where everything came back. Reiner and the others were the reason why the war broke and Titans invaded back at the beginning of the series, and at this point, Reiner and the rest did that because they believed that they'd be able to save the world. Now at this point in the series, Eren intends to save his loved ones as well, and plans on going on a similar route to the one Reiner initially chose. Above the same place, Willy Taiba is giving a speech to declare war on the Eldians. It's all a wonderful culmination to Eren's entrance as he finally transforms into the Attack Titan and kills Willy Taiba and multiple high-ranking officials, starting the war in full force. Coming in the top 3, we have Naruto's entrance versus Pain. As Pain's forces laid siege to the Hidden Leaf village, they engaged in fierce combat with our heroes. Pain absolutely decimated a large portion of the village and it seemed like all hope was lost. However, Naruto's arrival marked a turning point in the battle as he showed up to face the enemy who took his master's life. And boy, was Naruto's entry spectacular. He literally showed up standing on top of Gamakichi, who was standing on top of Gamabunta, along with Gamaken and Gamahiro. It was an awesome sight to look at and gave some hope to both viewers and the villagers. Tsunade comes in the middle of Naruto and Pain, but Naruto shows how powerful he's become by taking out one of Pain's bodies in a single blow. It marked the culmination of Naruto's abilities and would lead to an amazing fight. Before we reveal the top entry on this list, we have the Dragon Dive from Hunter x Hunter. The Chimera Ant arc resulted in the birth of one of the most strongest creatures around in the form of the Ant King, Meruem. Meruem was on a power level of extreme proportions and posed an unprecedented threat to humanity. So to combat the monster, the Hunter Association sent in Netero, the chairman of the association, one of the most powerful Nen users around. Netero came along with Xenozoldyck in one of the coolest and most over-the-top entrances in anime. These two old badasses jumped off from a giant draconic bird that transported them through the sky to the top of the Ant King's residence. The dragon dive Xeno used while these two descended to the area was just incredible. The two were accompanied by a literal rain of dragon meteors that destroyed a large area below and was by far an epic way to arrive at the enemy stronghold. And it would have held the top spot in this list if it wasn't for the next entry, which is Shanks' arrival at Marineford in One Piece. The Paramount War that took place at Marineford was the biggest war in the series up until this point. Almost like Infinity War of the anime world, maybe even better actually. The Marines faced off against Whitebeard's entire crew with Luffy there too. Whitebeard was an emperor of the sea during this time and was known as the strongest man in the world. He had unquestionable strength, while the Marines had all their admirals and the warlords off the sea to face off against him, all to make sure that the execution of Goldie Roger's son Ace would go through. The war was incredible and led to some of the most iconic moments in the history of One Piece, but utter chaos ensued near the end as both Whitebeard and Ace lost their lives. It wasn't until Shanks' epic entrance that it put a stop to the entire war. His arrival effectively halted the war between the Marines and the Whitebeard pirates as well as their allies, preventing further loss of life. His power was clear as even the Marines didn't want to fight off against another emperor of the sea. It was an extremely dramatic entrance that every fan of the series can vividly remember and won't ever forget. And with that, we'll be wrapping up this list of the top 20 legendary anime entrances. With so many anime around, we're sure that we may have missed some of your favourite entries, or at least your ranking would be different from ours, so don't keep us hanging. Be sure to comment down below any entrances that you think should have made it to this list. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so we can show you some more of the best moments around. See you next time.